Nation.
Shout out to DONTAE'S Boxing Nation. This is your boy Shakur Stevenson. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter at Shakur Stevenson.
DONTAE'S Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? Well, I'll tell you one thing. Golovkin versus Danny Jacobs may go down in history as possibly one of the longest negotiations ever to come to a deal and come to an agreement. Just to get you guys caught up, for those of you guys who don't know, Golovkin and Jacobs, they were negotiating a couple months back, and they were supposed to be fighting this weekend, December 10th, but because they couldn't come to an agreement, they end up pushing negotiations a bit further, and now they're trying to fight sometime around March of next year. Now, recently, Danny Jacobs' trainer, he said, we're ready to take Golovkin's belts, and we've been ready ever since the fight was offered to us. But, you got to kind of take him saying that with a grain of salt, because his trainer, and I know his manager for sure, was definitely saying since day one, we'll fight Golovkin, but it ain't going to be for peanuts. We have to be compensated right, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, which I understand that. I totally understand that. But it just leaves the impression that they're not like crazy about taking this fight. Now, one thing I agree with when it comes to Team Jacobs is when they said they want a 60-40 split in favor of Golovkin. So that means that Team Jacobs, they were willing to take the 40% slice of the pie. That makes sense to me. Matter of fact, the picture that you guys are looking at on the screen right now, that was a poll that I did. And I asked you guys the question, is 60-40 a fair split? And the majority of you guys said that it is a fair split. The vast majority. Okay? So, I don't see a problem with a 60-40 split. This fight, it really needs to come to fruition. This is a huge fight. This is a huge fight, especially in New York. Gennady Golovkin, he already does good numbers in New York, and so does Danny Jacobs. Danny Jacobs is from New York. When he fought against Peter Quillen, it was a very successful turnout. So this would be huge. Golovkin versus Danny Jacobs at the Barclays Center or even Madison Square Garden, it would be a huge matchup. And I truly believe there's a good possibility that Danny Jacobs, he could possibly be the middleweight version of a Kell Brook in there with Gennady Golovkin. And we all know what happened in the Kell Brook fight. The biggest question is, can Danny Jacobs take Gennady Golovkin into deep waters? Because that's what a lot of fans want to see. A lot of fans want to see how Golovkin deals with a guy who hits just as hard as he is, or almost as hard as he does. I mean, we seen when Kell Brook was in the ring with him, he was getting hit with a lot of shots, but that was from a welterweight. But Gennady Golovkin, he did not look comfortable. We seen, his face a little bloodied up. He, once again, when Kell Brook went on the attack, all Golovkin did was just sit there and blocked. Matter of fact, not only did he block, but he backed up at the same time. So it'll really be interesting to see how he deals with Danny Jacobs' speed and power. Now, of course, Golovkin has the equalizer. He has a great amateur pedigree. He has tremendous power, and he's a very technically sound, aggressive fighter. Golovkin is not a dumb, aggressive fighter. He's an intelligent, aggressive fighter. So that's, we'll see. We'll see how Danny Jacobs deals with Golovkin's power and vice versa if the fight comes to fruition. So once again, for the second time, the WBA, they gave Golovkin and Jacobs an extended 7 days to come to an agreement, and that's what everyone is waiting for. Everyone is waiting to see what the results are when it comes to this agreement. Like I told you guys before, I think 60-40 is a very good split for this fight. I mean, clearly Jacobs, he's not asking for 50-50, and I think that's fair. I mean, neither one of these guys are superstars. Let's be honest about it. There's no doubt about it. Golovkin is more of a fan favorite, but being a fan favorite doesn't make you a superstar, because we've seen that with Golovkin's pay-per-view numbers when he fought against David Lemieux. All right. So he's not a superstar. Danny Jacobs is not a superstar. But Danny Jacobs is willing to take 40% of the pie. So we'll see what happens. That's pretty much all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.